Whether you like it or not, that's the form that's already coming into your head because being means that to you. Whether you attach a pair of wings, whether you attach a second pair of hands, that it all depends on your culture, right? So we are trying to put these restrictions or put him in a box when he does not fit into any of our boxes. So religion actually attempts to tell us what this being is. How do you understand it? And that first line tells us, if you are curious, jignasa means curiosity. If you are curious about this being, you're going to go out there and you're going to ask those questions, which then lead you to the answer. So Hinduism is a series of question and answers. So you ask the question, you get the answer, you get even more curious, you ask more questions, you get more answers. And that is the whole path of Hinduism. That's what you ask, you get more answers, and you get clarity as you go along the way. Now I'm going to start off with a picture that you guys are all familiar, and if you look around the temple, you see a lot of the same. And the first question is, why the elephant head? Why the four hands? There is a story, there's a mythological story that goes behind why he has an elephant head. Is everybody familiar with that or not? You're not. Okay, I'm going to very, very briefly tell you about the story. It turns out that a pair of gods, Shiva and Parvati, they were married, and one day Shiva was out and Parvati was taking a bath. She posted her son, who had at that point not met the father yet, and she posted him outside and said, no matter who comes, don't let him inside. And since the son had not met the father yet, so he's standing outside guarding the house, when Shiva comes back, he says that, please let me in, this is my house, and the boy says, no, my mom said I can't let anybody in. And then there's a kind of a tussle between the father and the son, not knowing who each other is. And then the father gets really angry and he chops off the son's head. And when the mother comes running out, she says that, how dare you do this? This is my son. And as a matter of making up for his mistake, he says, head out in this direction, bring me back the head of the first animal that you see, and that first animal happens to be an elephant, and you bring it back, and he attaches the head again. And therefore, Ganesha has the head of an elephant. Why the symbolism? Why the head of an elephant? And why all those instruments that he's carrying? I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. The large forehead that he has is supposed to represent increased intellect. We all know that this part of our head represents the frontal lobe that is responsible for high imagination, ability to think clearly, and use all of those creative thinking aspects of our brain. If you have this high intellect, you also need to have the ability to control what you're doing with that kind of intellect. And therefore, in one of his hands, he has what is called the ankush. It is called the goad. If any of you have seen the elephant rider, who is called the mahut, he has this instrument in his hand because the elephant, if it sees a crowd, if it sees a tiny rodent running around somewhere, it has the capacity to go mad. And so what the mahut will do is when he's sitting on top of the elephant, he has this little instrument that he can stick on the top of the elephant. And the moment he does that, they have a real soft spot, much like the babies have when they're born. So that spot stays soft throughout the elephant's life, and so he's able to stick that in there and able to bring the elephant back into control. So that represents control. When you have high intelligence, people who are super smart can also sometimes do super crazy things. So this is to make sure you have control over the intelligence that you have. On the other hand, he has a rope, which you can kind of think as a tether. So these are like a system of check and balances for the high intellect that you have.